Tuperos y tuperas, today on DOOP by the River. It's Leagues Cup edition of DOOP by the River. So we're going to talk about everything that's been going down. We do have a transfer rumor to talk about, not yet set in stone. And ladies and gentlemen, the crossover is back. We got a Union podcast here today. So don't you dare go anywhere because you do not want to miss this episode of DOOP by the River. And let's get it started, guys. DOOP by the River
doesn't do anything well. There is not one.
I'm sorry. There was no creativity.
As a Union fan, I take that all day.
Another DP. We need to go get Mario Balotelli. Where we follow everything Philadelphia Union, and of course, we are brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to welcome everyone on in today's episode of DOOP by the River. Whether you're watching live on YouTube or on our Twitter account here, thank you so much. Make sure you guys hit the like button here on YouTube. Subscribe for more live viewings of DOOP by the River, and make sure you guys follow us here on the DOOP by the River Twitter account. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a little bit of a different panel of experts in duping, so let's introduce them here tonight. Of course, from PSN, making his Union call-up here, ladies and gentlemen. He's been doing a great job over at PSN, writing some great Union articles. Please welcome all in Paul Frenzel. Paul, what's up? Welcome on in. It's been a long time, man. I'm happy you're here, brother. What's up, man?
Thank you. I'm just chilling, man. Just got a long day of work. We're vibing. Life's good. How are y'all doing today?
Dude, we're doing great, man. And what better way to come back from work than to talk some Union, a big win, Paul? So I'm happy you're here, man. We're going to pick that brain a little bit. You ready, Paul?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Let's do it, bro. Let's do it. And then, of course, ladies and gentlemen, these guys haven't been doing this podcast game a long time, but they're fucking killing it, guys. They're on every single presser. They're here every single week, giving you guys that Union coverage that you need. So from the network all about the birds. This is across the pitch. Please welcome Mike Barrera and Jose Nunez, gentlemen. Welcome on in. It's a pleasure having you both in here.
Listen, we appreciate you having us on. I know we've been kind of like Twitter friends and seen you at the tailgates from time to time, so it's finally nice to just chat some soccer with you, man. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, Mike says it best, right? I think it's really interesting now that sort of barged my way into the show with Mike and Dave and getting to know a lot of the Union community that is all so friendly and welcoming, now getting to know everybody in person and frankly supporting one another, right? Yes, we are maybe battling for eyes, but ultimately we all have the same goal in mind, which is to just share the love of this damn thing.
Yeah.
I completely agree, man. So when we first started doing this in 2019, the goal was always about the club, growing the fan base, growing the popularity in the city, seeing more podcasts, doing it every single week. It just puts a smile on my face, and it's still about the fans, still about the club, and I'm happy you guys are doing it, man. I'm happy you guys are killing it. So, for those who aren't familiar, though, I want to talk a little bit about Across the Pitch, man. So, how long has this been? How long have you guys been potting? How did this come about? What was the idea? What was the influences here? Whoever wants to take away, man.
Yeah, I'll start it off. So, like you said, we were originally with AAT Birds, all about the birds. We started right after the COVID, right after the Shield year, the COVID year, right? 2020, late 2019, early 2020. Dave Miller, the third chair of our group, him and I were working together doing Eagles stuff, doing college basketball, kind of going back and forth. And, him being from England, he's like, hey, I love soccer. I was like, yeah, so do I. So let's talk about it. And, we started talking about the Union, and it just kind of went from there. That's it. Across the Pitch was born, and then we started growing some followers. We started doing more podcasts. We did the credential stuff with the media work. Eventually, our website grew to AAT Sports Network, so now we got both of them going. A lot of action, Eagles, Phillies, some Sixers, Union, and we just kept kind of going that way. And then as we got busier, we had to bring somebody else on. So Jose had been a faithful commenter for probably since the beginning. So, Jose, that's kind of when you stepped into your role there.
Yeah,
you just Justin Freiberg your way into that podcast,
man. Is that how he started? Because frankly, I looked at the show and I thought to myself, I really enjoy this, and having been an avid listener of podcasts for, and I hate to say, like the fanboy thing, but like from the beginning, even before some of the more popular ones like Serial and whatnot, of when podcasts started getting big, it's something that's been a passion of mine and something I always wanted to get involved. So to see Mike and Dave do it and think, I think I can add something to this, and just flat out tell them, like, give me a shot, let's go for it and see what's up. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been, I think, as Mike maybe alluded to it, we've been really evolving, I think, this year more than ever in terms of our content as well as our focus, and I say maybe soft promise in a way. You know, we don't want to miss a week. We want to make sure that everybody who follows us knows that every single week, whether it's our typical Monday or at some point in the week, they can expect something from us. So it's been a lot of fun, and we're excited to see where it goes next season.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So I guess I got to ask, Mike. So, like, you said that, you know, you and Dave both love soccer, right?
Yep.
So for me, when I got into it, you know, I was doing a lot of, I was a big Napoli guy. I was doing a lot of Napoli content, Union content, just general soccer. So why the Union? Why the MLS? Why not go the Euro route where most people were going at that time period?
That's a good question. So, like, for me, as a local guy, you know, like we talked about, we're South Jersey guys, right? I was a Union fan since 2012, right? So I go way back, basically, to almost the beginning of the franchise. But Dave, even though he's from England, he has a lot of Philly ties. So he has a lot of ties to the Eagles, and he actually started watching the Union probably about 2017, 2018. So it kind of just felt organic for us to talk about that particular league. And I was never really into international soccer to begin with. So he's like, you know what, there's really not a whole lot of Union content creators. There was just like a small handful of steady people. So we figured, let's give it a shot. What's the worst that could happen? And it was just easy to fall in love with the team. They also got really good at the same exact time. So it was just so exciting every single year to kind of just keep going, and it really just kind of grew on its own after that.
I know, man. Like, when I first started, like, it was the 2019 year where we just won our first playoff game, and it's like ever since then, like, it's been winning. Like, I couldn't, like, imagine. I guess I could, because, you know, Kevin's just making a great YouTube career here off the suffering of SKC. But, like, imagine doing content like during like the 2014, 2015 years. Like, oh, dude, it's some interesting content for sure, man. Absolutely there. And I definitely don't want to forget Paul here. Paul, my man, dude, welcome. Dude, it's so good seeing you here, man. Kind of just tell us a little bit how you got into Union coverage, PSN, meeting Liam, the boss man.
I was always interested in journalism throughout high school. I was like journalism media. I was a play-by-play football broadcaster for my high school.
Nice.
I did some soccer, baseball. So I went to RV, so the local guys will know.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I always thought journalism could be an avenue, but I knew how competitive it was. So when I went into college, I did sport management, and then COVID hit. So a lot of that scouting, which is what I wanted to do, it kind of died down. And then I went back into the journalism, and then I interned at AAT for a little bit.
Nice.
So I got to meet Mike and Dave and the whole crew there.
Yep.
And then I stopped for a little bit, and then I got back into it. I messaged Liam, saw him about the Union. I was like, I love soccer. I love the Union. Let's do it. And then we had a meeting, and then here I am.
There you go.
There you go, man. We're glad you're here, man. Paul, keep killing it, man. We love having you here, man, and I'm excited to see some more from you. And I will say this, Jose. So Justin, I'm so glad he did this, because I'm so happy he's part of this family. But I do believe he was messaging Tim about coming on the show, and I'm gonna have to have Justin tell the story on the next episode here. He came on, and he kind of just stuck on, and we just went with it. And I'm so happy he's here to this day, man. So Justin was also listening on in, as just like you, Jose, and it worked out well. It's the best way to find a co-host, Mike. It's the best way to find.
Yes, listen, I haven't been complaining. Jose's been great, especially because Dave's so far ahead of us time-wise. I got a full-time job. I'm a single dad as well, so trying to balance life. Jose plugged himself in. It's nice to kind of rotate now, and also the Spanish-speaking translation that he does is phenomenal. So for me, it just gives us another advantage, to the rest of the content out there. So it's been great.
Thank you, Mike. Kind words, but maybe don't see myself that way too, and maybe that's the self-deprecating nature of myself and how I sort of handle my work. But it really has been a lot of fun, and as I mentioned to Mike the last couple of weeks, it's also been very touching to see, I think, the community embrace sort of sharing more of the Spanish-speaking stories. Right, we have a great set of players that don't often get the ability to talk with media and or talk to media. I hate to say in an honest way, but maybe in a way that makes them feel the most comfortable. So to be able to sort of help with that has been great too.
Me da tanto alegría ver más hispanohablantes en la media. It's awesome. It's awesome, man. It truly is. Well, gentlemen, let's get to our blue and gold. We're gonna talk some Leagues Cup. Obviously, that's pretty much what the whole league's doing, so we'll get to that. But got a little bit of a rumor here this past week. Tai Baribo, a 25-year-old Israeli international, has been linked to the Union. Not just linked, like we signed him. That's what the rumors are, the reports are. 3-year deal. That's all we really know right now. Bogues did confirm on this as well. Not much we can go about. He's coming from Austria. He's coming from the Austrian league in Wolfsberger. So not too much to kind of look at there. But from all the small highlights that we've seen, you can clearly tell why Jim and Ernst like this guy. He's a big boy, knows how to make those runs. He's a physical guy as well. I want to start here with our across the pitch guys here. I want to start with Jose. Jose, man, so your thoughts in general, obviously not too much that we know about Baribo, but your feeling about this rumor, man.
Pretty strong. I got to say, after yesterday's match, I sort of got a comment from somebody, but I really can't say who or what it was. And Mike doesn't even know this, but just, it sounds like it's going to happen. It's just really interesting of when. I'm no Tom Boger by any stretch of the information, but it seems like
you don't got the strong stash.
No, I do not have the strong stash. And by the way, Cincinnati up 1-0 against Chivas, minute and a half in. So, yeah, this is a wonderful move, right? I think Mike and I have been very open, in both in a critical way too, about sort of our need for a third striker. Nothing against Mr. Donovan and what he brings, or maybe even Quinn when he's forced to be up front, but that's not the caliber of player that maybe we need to sort of push us to the next level. Because I still remember, MLS Cup last year when we throw in Mr. Donovan, and who's on the other side going in for LAFC? Christian Bale. Mr. Bale.
It felt like Batman, though.
Mr. Bale goes in and saves the day for LAFC. So, to see sort of like both sides of the coin, right? A team that goes out and finds a player versus us trying to grow or find somebody who's local / a kid to go out there. It was sort of like the complete dichotomy of how to run a club. So I'm really excited. I think this could be a season-defining move, honestly. This and potentially a Kai extension or new contract, I guess you could say. That would be, honestly, those either one or both could be just absolutely season-defining.
Jose's trying to get us excited here. Okay.
Getting amped up.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, go
Go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say, well, I think the most important thing is kind of building for the future, too. To his point, Kai's, uncertain future. If Carranza does end up leaving down the road, is this guy going to be that plug and play for Julian's replacement? But you see Tanner also, improving on the back line, right? Brings in that center back as well from overseas.
Yes.
So it's not only a win now move, it's a win in the next couple of years move as well. So it's added depth right when the Union are starting to kind of piece it together a bit here, right? We're starting to see some really good production, some new players like Bueno, for example, stepping up, McGlynn playing a lot better. Well, not that he was playing poorly, but getting better, I should say, as the season goes on. So to have now a big name like this coming in, it's real exciting, man.
I gotta tell you, yesterday during the press conference, I got to ask my question to Jim, and sure, he answered. And after everybody was done, I sort of let out any Israeli strikers that we're aware of, and I got a smirk. So it's really interesting to see that there's excitement behind this, even from within. Whether it's true or not, whether it's going to happen or it's not going to happen, who knows? But a smirk is a smirk, for what it's worth.
I'll take it.
I'm glad you do ask those questions, Jose, because I've been in those press conference situations. It can be a little intimidating when you got JT there and Joe and Matt DeGeorge, but those guys are freaking awesome. But ask those questions, Jose, for sure, man.
The way I see it, what do I have to lose? I guess I have my access to lose, but in reality, this is a hobby to me, and I love it. And frankly, I think the feedback for him asking Kai just flat out, what are the odds that we see you wearing blue and gold next year? And just his very honest question, I think, led to a lot of really good conversations. And honestly, him plugging in online, probably seeing just how beloved he is, right? So it can only help. And frankly, I think that's the part of it. I think I'm not a journalism major by any stretch, but I think that it's healthy to have sort of a love / adversarial relationship with the club, right? You love them, you can support them, but ultimately you are out there to get answers and to ask the questions that people are thinking. So dancing and following that line can be tough for some. And I think I've experienced what you're mentioning in terms of same dry question, someone who goes deep into the bag for stats and gets a, answer that whatever you can type up and put up, etc. But no one really asking some of these tougher questions that are rumors or honestly just not easy to ask, like what I asked the Mexican coach yesterday of so what do you say to the fans who watch this demolishing, right? Like what do you say to them? and I gotta look, that's for sure, but ultimately I think I'm sure a lot of Mexican fans of that team are probably thinking the same thing. What the hell do you have to say about it? So I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Paul, for you, man, any thoughts on the Baribo rumor here?
I think it's absolutely fantastic. We've been waiting for that third striker ever since Burke left for the Red Bulls this year. We haven't had a guy come off as a substitute with the impact that Burke has had, I've noticed. And if Baribo can, I assume that he'll be doing that because that's what it'll be in. But if it is for a Carranza potential replacement, I think it is a good fit, like a good plug and play for Carranza. Because I do think Carranza has suitors over in Europe. There has to be, there's no way he doesn't. He's a young striker who knows how to finish. Teams in Europe will jump all over that. So I think it's phenomenal. It's really an Ernst Tanner signing, a guy that not many people know about, a very low-key signing. But, yeah, all around, I think it's going to be phenomenal for the team. Really good depth help.
What I wonder, and maybe this is out to you or all of you, is where does he fit into the defensive scheme? Right, we've seen sort of I don't even want to say downfall or fall from grace, but Perea, right? And the answer we kept on getting from Jim in terms of why isn't he playing was his defensive acumen not being quite there. And by the way, 2-0 Cincinnati 8 minutes in against Chivas. So where does this guy fit in defensively, and does he have the same work rate that Paul you're mentioning in terms of things that maybe don't show up on the stat sheet from Carranza? Can he do that? I don't know. I'm intrigued.
That's a good question. I really thought about that, if you want to be honest. I got to watch more of his play.
From what I've seen, the dude works. And from what I heard as well, so he a couple years ago, I think in 21, he was with a club in Israel that was in the second division, and in 1 year they rose up to the first division. Wow. And that's when he had a great year, and then he gets sold off to Austria. And what I saw playing in Austria was a guy who wasn't scared to press, who worked his ass off, and that type of defensive pressure at that position is obviously something that we look at. You see what Urre and Carranza do on that high press. I think that's where he could fit in. This signing does intrigue me because I'll be honest, I thought what we were going to get was like a veteran piece, was an older type of player, maybe in the MLS, because you've seen Ernst is beginning happy with that type of market here. Now, Joaquin and Andres haven't really panned out per se, but this is definitely a market you do want to take advantage of. So to be able to get a young player at that position and by the way, a potential non-DP, which, gentlemen, that's huge in its own right as well. That to me is pretty huge. Carranza, to me, he's on his way. I've always said the consistency of finishing in the box needs to be there, and he's gonna get sold because we've seen what he can do at his high capacity. But you need that consistency. That's what got Tati sold. So having Baribo being the potential incumbent for Carranza, I think it's just thinking ahead. And yeah, Jose mentioned it. Dude, having Gareth Bale coming off the bench. We got a little pup in the building. Look at that. I love it.
I think did you have Alex Windley on your show a long time ago from Miami?
I did.
Okay, so I've had her on as well, and I remember I asked her, what's the deal with Carranza? This is when he first signed on with us. So what's the scoop on him? She said high motor, high energy. He'll get in your face if he need to, but he can occasionally come and go, disappear a bit. Now, I'm not saying Julian's disappearing. I think he's very involved. He's having a great season. But you're right. Those sitters he's missing, that inconsistency he sometimes has, that does make a difference. It really does, especially if you're looking at people from overseas looking at you to what your potential is to game now. So I agree with you 100%. I think we've seen bits of that this year, but I think thankfully he's obviously done much better
Yeah.
than he did in Miami.
Yeah, these matches are all kind of becoming one, but I do
Yeah.
believe the last international break we played San Jose beforehand, and I think
Yes.
there was a couple of opportunities where he could have just buried it, and it just didn't go in his way. So that's the type of stuff. Obviously, he's got the skill set, but regardless, we saw. I mean, you guys mentioned as well. Chris Donovan, Quinn Sullivan coming off the bench hasn't really done it. I just think Quinn, this isn't the right system for him. I think he's is a natural winger. I think that's when he's at his best, but he obviously he can finish in the box, and we've seen that before. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what does how Tai Baribo does fit into this system here. So what do we think? Do we think Ernst is done? Do we think there's more on the horizon, guys?
I mean, if you think about what this team could use more, you'd probably argue maybe a midfield piece, right? But then you see something like Bueno and McGlynn stepping up the way they have recently. It's like, well, do you really need midfield depth? And I'd say at least maybe somebody to kind of overstep Pereira, unless maybe, to your point, Quinn now not being in the rotation up top, maybe gets brought back to the midfield. So maybe that's in a way 2 moves in one, kind of having that other option now, because we've seen him on the right hand side before in replacement of Bedoya, and you see what he can do when he crosses the ball into the box. You look at the Jose Martinez goal, look at some other opportunities we've had earlier this season with his left foot on the left side. So maybe in a way Quinn is now that next midfield depth that you could use past McGlynn and Flock and Bueno.
Let me ask you guys something. How do we feel about the depth behind Gazdag if something were to happen? Or if you need to rest them for a minute?
I'll let you guys go first on that one.
I would say Mike is the Sullivan stan, okay? Mike has been saying his praises for a long, long time. And I think that's where sort of it begins and sort of where it ends, right? Because who do you go to beyond Sullivan to play that number 10, right? But to your original question, I would hope that Ernst sort of takes care of stuff that's internal in a way, right? With Kai being first and foremost, because I can only imagine what the guy's feeling, right? Think about this. Jim gets a new contract, making nice money, I'm sure. Ernst gets himself a contract, and I posted the Obama meme, right? Hit Obama giving himself a medal, so it's like Tanner giving himself a contract. and now you hear the rumors about a player who could potentially be a designated player, but they're gonna get him for cheaper, etc. But again, more cash that's being passed around, and you're this guy who has been very open about wanting to move abroad. It didn't happen, whether it was from the club's perspective or whether it was from the player's perspective, not the right move. Who knows? We'll never know. But it's very clear that, the dance, it's not mutual right now. And it's really going to be up to the union to sort out whether or not they want him. And I'm sure he's got his price. But I must admit, all of this, unfortunately, I hope I'm wrong, this all smells like there's going to be some sort of asshole team like the New York Red Bulls or NYCFC who will wait till he's a free agent and just give him a DP role, because he honestly cannot argue he hasn't earned it with how well he has played and how good he has been an all-star 1 year. Yeah. High production, very few injuries. Overall, just DP all around. So I would hope that he's the piece that they answer first before another body from the outside in.
Do you think the Euro dream's over for Kai?
It's hard to tell, right? I can't fathom that he goes to Europe as a free agent, right? Mm-hmm. I just don't know how that would work, because you don't, outside of gigantic players who run out their contracts, you don't hear about many Premier League players, for example, who come in from being free agents, right? It's usually transfers. It's usually a comfortable thing. So I like to think that, or I would hate to think that there's some sort of like preference to having a transfer versus a free agent. But I don't know. We asked this question about Blake back in the day when he had all of these, accolades to his name, was playing very well, and now at 32, very comfortable in the United States, just became a citizen. Congratulations, Andre. That's awesome. I remember the ceremony when you go through it, not for me, but for my dad, when you go through it at the end, they say, they do the song, the proud to be an American on a gigantic screen with your little flag and you just wave it around. So I wonder if that happened there today or whenever it happened.
Moment, man.
But I don't follow and this is where maybe I draw the line, and I mentioned it to someone on Twitter. I don't follow the families of the players. Maybe that's where I draw the line with how much I really want to know about their lives. I know there's people in our community that absolutely love following every single detail of a player's life, but family is sort of where I draw the line. But my understanding is that his wife is enjoying her work. The kids are growing up in the United States, having a great time. I think he's near the King of Prussia area. I can't remember where he might be. Yeah.
No, Kai lives by me.
Okay, so he lives by you. So it seems like he's comfortable. It's just, does he really think it's going to happen, or is it better for him to just settle making his $500,000, almost to $1 million a year for the rest of his career? Who knows? I mean, I'm not quite sure.
And that is the $1 million. Well, I guess $1 million question. Yeah, at that point, man. Absolutely. So we'll see what happens. Paul, what do you see happening? Do you see anything happening here?
I really hope, like I said, I really hope it's a Kai extension. He really deserves it. He's really like a backbone of our defense, and I really can't say anything else. He's deserved his extension. He deserves honestly, whatever he wants. I mean, I don't know if that'll give it to him, but he may deserve that.
Yeah, no, I obviously would love to keep Kai. Obviously, I've always been just reluctant because I want him to, if his dream is Europe, I want him to go achieve that.
Yeah.
So,
Agreed.
if it's not going to happen, like Jose said, just throw whatever money he wants, because you want that type of dude to play as long as he can here in Philadelphia. I mean, dude, that's one of the first signings or second signing, I think, for Ernst, and it's been one of the best, if not the best signing that we've had in Ernst's tenure. So
it would be interesting, and I don't have this data or this information anywhere near me, but what teams have open designated player spots going into next season that could really take advantage of the situation?
Is there having a DP fullback, by the way?
If he's going to be the first one, I think he's a worthy one.
Yes.
And maybe this is me, again, being a stan for him. And Carranza, Mike knows this very well. I'm a Carranza stan through and through. But I wonder if there's teams monitoring the situation. Surely there are, especially within the league, right? Someone who's tried and true, been an all-star and done very well, not just earned silverware, but played in tough matches and situations. So I wonder who would be a suitor for him in the offseason. And obviously he would just probably prefer to be signed now. At least that's what he said. It's just, if that doesn't happen, who is available to take him on and give him what he wants?
Even in a statistically down season that he's having compared to last year, his presence on the field is so obvious. You know, he doesn't have to have 15, 20 assists to make a massive impact on the game. I mean, it's incredible what he can do.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's get into some of these matches here. Leagues Cup has been underway, as Jose's been giving us. Any update on that match, Jose? Chivas and Cincy.
I keep on looking up. It's still a 2-0 Cincinnati advantage, 18, 19 minutes. So probably, in the 20th minute at the stadium. So looks like they might just get a hold of this and go on as leaders of the club, because I think they beat SKC in penalty kicks last game. So they'll probably go top of the group. Good luck to whoever gets them next round.
We shall see. But for our Union, we played 2 matches in this tournament here. Kind of similar aspects in both. We pretty much dominated all throughout the match for both. 3-1 win against Club Tijuana. 5-1 win against Queretaro yesterday. Queretaro yesterday. The Gazdak 3 penalty kicks in both matches. You had a brace from Julian Carranza. We had a Nathan Harriel. My man got up for his goal here, ladies and gentlemen. Jack McGlynn scores a dazzle. And guys, it looks like the Union team that we saw in the middle of summer last year. They were putting up 6-7 nothing in those matches throughout the season. And these guys have confidence. These guys are scoring goals. These guys they outpossessed Queretaro yesterday. Paul, I want to start with you on this one, man. Like, in both matches, like, if you want to bring up something from the Queretaro match or the Tijuana match, whatever you'd like, but dude, what is your takeaway from both of these matches, man?
I'm just enjoying seeing the Union dominate again. Not saying they haven't dominated this year, but from last year when we saw 7-0 wins, 6-0 wins, it's just enjoying seeing them play the way that I know they can play, just dominate teams, make it basically at the end of the first half, game over. Basically, it's just real enjoyable. I guess that's really all. Like I said, I wasn't able to watch last night because of work, so I really don't have any inputs from the game. I did see the Gazdag goal. His first goal, the beauty from outside the box. That was beautiful. Gazdag hat trick. It's always a good night when those happen. But yeah, I just enjoy seeing the Union just dominate again. It's fantastic.
It's always fun, man. Mike?
I mean, in terms of just the players stepping up, I think you and I had talked about this before the show started. Just having not Carranza and Ua taking care of the business, seeing goals from Gazdag and Bueno with a beautiful assist for the corner kick. I mean, can we just say the corner kick from Bueno was incredible? It was right on the money, which we don't really get to see too much from right-footed players for our squad. Nathan getting involved. You obviously Damian Lowe's back in the mix, and we saw how much Curtin praised Damian on the previous press conference after Tijuana. He's like, listen, we just don't lose when Damian Lowe's in the match. That's a very high praise for any player, whether it be goalie, center back, whoever. So seeing all these players gelling at the same time, seeing the formation and the bond between Jose and Jesus together right in front of the back line, that
And
might
it's all
be
midfield, man.
well, in the future, that might be kind of a peak to next season when you see Jesus and
Hey.
Jose together. That's a great, but just honestly, just from Gazdag, finally testing the keeper from outside the box. How many times have we seen that this year? Maybe twice, 3 times at the most. Let him rip, Daniel. For the love of God, just let him rip and let's see what happens. That's it.
There was one play in the second half where it was a free ball. Sanveso, the forward of Queretaro, dude, he had a full path to goal to net.
Yeah.
And here comes Damian Lowe, full speed ahead, beats out Sanveso for this ball. And we're on the live stream, and I'm like, geez Louise, this guy is just a blessing in the sky for us, man. It's not many center backs are doing that, man. At that size, running that fast, he's really freaking fast for that position, for that size, man. It's really remarkable. Jose, any takeaways from our Leagues Cup, man? Matches.
I know a lot of people were skeptical, me included, and maybe actually, the crossing broad folks, very skeptical about this competition. But you cannot deny that this has been a lot of fun, right? Whether it has been positive for your team or negative for a team, obviously for us it has been positive because of everything we've witnessed and the development of players and players stepping up over the last 2 games. It's been awesome. But it's just been really great to see this team sort of gel again in a way, right? We're sort of getting glimpses here, albeit against weaker opposition in terms of Tijuana and Queretaro and compared to some of the teams that we faced in the MLS this year. But it's been really great to sort of get those performances of mid-August or July last year where we were winning 5-0, 6-0, 7-0, and seeing this team sort of really find its rhythm and players plugging in, us replacing a captain without really think about it, with Bedoya out for the next however many games, 6-7 games, I'm guessing, based on his injury last time around. So silently replacing a captain who's been at the heart of this all for a while, as well as just watching the budding relationship between 2 Venezuelans. And Jim mentioned it during the press conference. There has to be something to that, right? 2 teammates that are from the same nationality that just hold each other accountable, love one another, and play very, very hard for one another as well as the rest of the team. All in all, I think it's just been a lot better than I expected. And man, that little theme song that comes up before the games and at halftime from Fuerza Regida, that's a banger of the summer. For those that are looking for it, it's Tiki Taka Toko by Fuerza Regida. Look it up on your Spotify, YouTube Music, etc. It is a banger.
I like it. All right, man. I agree with the fact that I did not look forward to this tournament. I was admittedly so, only because I was selfish and I wanted to watch them. I wanted to gain points, man. I wanted to get up in the table. But now that we watched 2 matches, I think this has been beneficial for us because I think that you were able to take those. You're able to experiment there. You are able to take those extra chances, and you're obviously it's working here because you dominated in both these matches. So I think that this has been actually boding well here. Paul, I want to ask you here, man. I want to talk about Daniel Gazdag real quick.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of talk over media, and these other clubs hate on us. That's normal, right? But there's a lot of argument for Daniel Gazdag that he's not as good as what the stats seem because of the penalty kicks that he converts. What is your thought on that, man? What do you like? How like is Gazdag as good as the stats say, in your opinion?
Yes, 100%. I really feel like he changes the game no matter what he. You can tell when he's not playing that he's a game changer no matter how it is, whether it's shooting, passing, just being on the field. He's absolutely a game changer. The stats, I think he plays up to the expectations. Yes, he scores penalties, but you can also miss penalties. He doesn't miss penalties. So I just think, he's a star player for this club. We really need him. We're really glad he's here. And, yeah, that's
Amen, man.
all.
Mike, you're a basketball guy, right? So
Yes, sir.
here in Philly, we get a lot of shit with Joel Embiid because he goes to the line too much, Why don't you stop him then, right? So it kind of feels like the same type of argument here. You try to knock a player's skill because of what? He's knocking in goal penalty kicks? Like, it's crazy, right, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, he's not asking to take PKs. He's the best one at it. He goes up there and does the job. But it's not even just the assist; it's the pass before the assist happens. I think we saw the one with Flock. I'm pretty sure he did the little backflip to Bedoya, or whoever, and it's just little moments that in between. Even I know we talked about this with the Tijuana match. Right before Ua gets fouled for that second red card, Carranza and Gazdag work together so beautifully to feed Bueno, and then Bueno sets up Ua for that run. So it's all he finds his way into every single big play that we have. He's the ultimate point guard, if you will.
Nice.
For soccer. If you want to do the basketball thing, right?
Yeah.
He's a point guard. He's going to make the right pass. He's not going to turn the ball over too much. And once in a while, he's going to score as well. So every team needs a point guard, whether it's soccer or basketball, and he's exactly what we need right now.
Yeah, man. Jose, he scores, and you can't hate. It doesn't matter how he does it. You can't hate him for that, man.
No, you cannot. And, yesterday after the press conference, I got the opportunity to ask him about his his PK taking technique. Jim mentioned during the press conference about, he can just do it anywhere in the net, right? When you're 12 yards out, he can put it to the right, he can put it up in the bins, and he can go left across his body. His hips are as flexible as Ilsinho. He can just dominate from the line. So it was fascinating to hear from him, and just maybe the humble nature of him and saying that anybody can do this. It's just whether or not you have the confidence to do it in a game. That's the difference. So it seems like he's a special player and truly, truly, truly impressed to see a career season like last year be continued into this year with a great career, which is not something you often see in any sport. So again, continuing to be the metronome for this team, and we could not be any luckier to have him. And shame on anybody who called him a gas bag or was trashing him after the first season. Look what we have, right? How fortunate are we?
But can I say something as well to that point? Because listen, that's very, very true. But also to the people who said that. Kasper Shabilko is not Ure or Carranza. And you see how important that's all been. Yeah. He loves playing off of his forwards. Look at the counterattacks. Every time we hit on the counterattacks, his first touch is usually the right one. And it gets the attack going quickly. I think that's been a big difference as well. Why, he did struggle a little bit in 21, also adjusting to a league, the middle of a season.
Weather,
right? He'd been playing a bunch too.
Travel.
Time. Mm-hmm.
So to your point of Shavilko, Shavilko was at one point, and we've talked about this on our podcast, the perfect piece that the Union needed, right? But now that they shifted to the way they play, where they don't need a point person to just hold the ball and dish off, they actually need someone to go and sprint after it. Shavilko just wasn't the man. And he did a lot for the team, I think, in whatever you call Union 3.0 at that point, I guess, right? And I feel for him because I don't think it's worked out in Chicago as well as he had hoped.
Terrible situation, man, over there.
But yeah, just not the system for him. And just, appreciate what he did for the team. And I think being one of the second highest scoring, I think, person in the squad behind Latu, I think, because I can't think of anybody else. Yeah.
Until the season. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, I always say that as a caveat when we start sort of trashing players, right? Thank you for all you've done, but you're no longer part of this system, right? So I just I'm just so happy to see that we don't need him anymore, that we've evolved into something different.
Yeah, dude. It was like Ernst's first signing. I think it was a free transfer too. Like you're gonna take a free transfer there, and he just had to deal with his injuries, and it worked really well for those first 2 seasons.
Twin brother, an Olympic high jumper.
Dude,
Right.
dude, all 3 of his brothers, they look all alike.
It's unbelievable. If I think I saw a picture of him with his brothers on like Instagram, or somebody had flashed it in front of me, and they mentioned, it's like, which one is the soccer player? I was like, dude, I can't even tell you. Like we're talking about millimeters making the difference, and millimeters in terms of who's got the highest fall hawk.
Yeah, man. It's funny, Jose, you were talking about like, should I follow family members on Instagram? It's funny because I remember like 20 or 21, 22, I forget what all season was, but Anthony Fontana. And it's funny because
When he was in Italy.
Yeah, his girlfriend posts a picture of them 2 in Italy. And it's like, well, here's Anthony Fontana's girlfriend unleashing like transfer rumors here.
That's right.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
I hope I'm not wrong in that, right? I think that to me there's sort of like a moral thing to not be too involved with like wives and their kids. Like I don't need to know that. I think you kind of come to the U.S. to play here and hopes to have some privacy, and go back to the messy picture shopping at Publix with very few people noticing him, right? That's probably so fucking foreign to him. Sorry, can we swear?
Yes.
Okay. So foreign to him, he probably has no idea what that's like, right? Because if he goes to
Isn't that crazy?
Rosario, Argentina, or if he's out in Barcelona, Spain, like he's not getting that type of privacy. He would probably have to have his shopper go shop for him and be in a golden cage. It's probably something that they value.
Yeah, it is, man. What's up? We got Kegel's Bagels in here. I like that name. Feels good to be top of the table, not stress over points. Now time to handle some pressure of being the hunted in the KO stage. I have confidence when we play at the Subaru, though. Absolutely. It's been a fortress. What do you guys say about like this tournament's definitely not catered for Liga MX whatsoever.
I was actually just about to ask you that too, because like this tournament, and I think it was Mike, you always help me with his name, Kevin Kincaid.
Kevin Kincaid, yep.
Kincaid. He posted something earlier on Twitter that had me thinking, and shame on me for not thinking about it, but this tournament is totally catered for the Philadelphia Union to win, right? 5 matches, that's all you have to win. Well, I guess you could have won one less and still won it, but 5 matches that can run through your home with a record that you are at this point 21 out of 23, right? Like, yeah, of course this is catered to the American teams, and as Mike and I spoke with Dave about earlier this week, sort of all blending, had we played Tijuana and had the second half start that we did out in Mexico, we would have folded like a folding chair, man. Like we would have to have packed it in and probably lost the game even being up a man. So it's absolutely unbelievably unfair to the Mexican teams, and I'm intrigued to see what the committee comes up with for next year, because Miguel Herrera was not happy. You could tell that Mauro was not happy yesterday, so I'm sure the coaches and the federation will probably want to tweak whatever contract they sign in a way.
Are they going to be complaining once they get that bump and raise in their money because of the money they're making from this tournament?
That's the other thing, right? You think about a team like Queretaro last night, right? I think a terrible record as of late. I know they're only 3 games into their season, but last year I think they won very, very few games. They're making probably tons of money just being basically playing exhibition matches in Chester, Pennsylvania, and God, I am so intrigued to watch the stream on Sunday. I can probably go ahead and guess that there's going to be fewer than 2,000 people in that stadium. It's probably going to feel like a Philadelphia Union 2 game, honestly. Really? I mean, who's going to go and watch?
Yeah,
I know I'm not.
We're credentialed, then we're not going to go.
Yeah, right.
Where's Queretaro in Mexico, by the way? All I know is that Ronaldinho played. That's all I know.
All I know is the controversy of the murdering of some fans that one year that they had to sell the team or whatever. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's also, I mean, in a way though, at least for the 2 of them, one of them is at least advanced into the next round. Maybe not, they don't deserve to advance, but at least they get one more chance to put their name out there, to get more minutes, especially because they are just in the beginning of their season, to kind of get that, gelling going. But really, the only hope for Liga MX is for somebody to have a big upset, just one of the bigger, more powerful squads to kind of make a little run. But how can you do that when you're playing in Cincinnati or LA or Philadelphia? That's very tough.
I would argue that LA could be
Well,
almost like a home game for some of
sure.
these teams,
Yeah.
especially if you're,
Yeah.
the Americas, the Pumas, all those bigger ones.
Minnesota, then that's
Yeah, Minnesota or Chester.
Yeah.
Chester, Pennsylvania, probably not. I mean, I was not at the Tijuana match, but what I saw yesterday from Queretaro, I don't think I saw more than 100 jerseys, let alone people wearing the colors. So it's fascinating to think and sort of wonder what the rule changes are going to be next year, because we know that this tournament's going to happen for a few years, right? They have multi-year agreements with whatever that debit card is that they flash at halftime, and Adidas signed a multi-year agreement to be the ball and I think the referee sponsors as well. So it's interesting because there's going to be a lot of complaints, and probably 90% of them coming from the Mexican side. So we'll see.
Absolutely. Paul, do you think any changes should be happening for next year's tournament?
I think obviously the Mexican sides will want change. Maybe they'll. I don't think this will happen, but something popped in my head that maybe instead of all of them coming to the U.S., maybe they'll ask for the MLS sides to all play in Mexico next year. So it's kind of like, you guys, we came to you guys last year. You guys can come to us next year. But I don't know if I really see that happening due to like the market value of they want as many people to go. But yeah, I don't know. Changes, I don't really know. I think it's been a good tournament so far. It's obviously been a lot more entertaining than everyone thought it would end up being. I know I'm watching every game like as many as I can every night, no matter who's playing. But yeah, changes. That's a good. Don't really know if there will be any besides them asking for like a home series.
Mike, what's the exchange rate between dollars and I guess pesos,
same
or
thing,
I'm
man.
not sure. What is it?
Back when I was younger, they would be 10 pesos was a dollar, or vice versa. It's like it's not, or no, it's 100 pesos is like a dollar. It's something.
How much is
weird.
how much is a ticket to a soccer game in Mexico?
Oh, I haven't been there since I was like 14, so you're asking
okay.
a long time ago.
Because I'm thinking, I mean, even today, Mike Borton sort of shared that earlier. Another, I think, Sons of Ben guy, whatever. I started to meet some more of these people, had shared just for him, and we, Mike and I think you guys too, whenever you're able to, whatever, get press credentials. We're very fortunate to get in there for free. Never gonna forget about saying that. Super transparent. We get parking. We get into the stadium for free. Food that I typically don't even eat, but it's there, etc. We're super fortunate. But to ask, I think River End was like $50 some or something, like $40-$50. I don't know, Paul, if you have your phone out,
Yeah, let me look it up real quick.
Dude, they were like $20-$30. Like I paid $30 for the playoff game in 2019.
Well, it's crazy, right? I mean, it's an international tournament. I'm sure the Leagues Cup wants to make its money, and I'm thinking, to your point, Paul, like if they go to Mexico, I can't imagine that the revenue they would make would be nearly as high as they would here.
Nah, yeah, that's true. I mean, the thing is though, like their whole thing is like, well, the whole Mexican market here in the States, but like outside of like Club America, Chivas, Tigres, Monterrey, like Cruz Azul, like what?
Pumas.
Yeah.
What are like the big what big fan bases are there in the States?
We met the Atlas fan base.
Yeah.
That was fun. And New York City got a taste as well. Sort of a taste of their own medicine, apparently. I don't know, but I don't know. It's just fascinating.
So I have ticket prices for the round of 32 match. In the River End, it'll be like $40 plus like a $10 fee.
All right, so you're looking at a $50 ticket, and this is another piece of advice: always try to connect with the ticket rep. More often than not, they can help you out. That is the easiest way to save money, because we want you in the stadium. The players want you in the stadium, so that I'm torn, right? Because we need that attendance to fuel the machine for transfers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But man, like that seems steep for a brand new competition. You'd think that they would bend the knee a little bit to try to engage the fan base to come, and maybe year 3, that's when it gets that 5-10% hike.
how are you also selling to Union fans who don't watch a lot of soccer, just watch Union soccer? And it's like, well, come watch Union versus Queretaro, and you're like, who is Queretaro? Like, like it's
I wonder if they're milking the success per se of
maybe.
recent years of, let's say, for example, in the Philadelphia base of our success against Mexican teams. Obviously, this past year and the year prior, was it Club America? I think we went and shit the bed in Mexico, right? But we played
Yeah.
okay at home. So I wonder if that's sort of the spin, right? There's some excitement every time we play against the Mexican team. I asked Kai and all the players that I interviewed after the game yesterday, is there a sense of rivalry? He's like, yeah, absolutely. It's like a derby every single year. So I don't know. It feels dirty to say, leaning towards big company Jay Sugarman's pocket. Let's line it, but it's also kind of like, well, we need to support the team in a way, right?
But
So
also, it's like, how many times think about it, before Seattle, Liga MX has ruled the CCL. Like we didn't have a chance. So at the same time, it's like it's finally our turn to kind of kick some
oh my
ass,
god,
send them
The
back
same
home.
thing, Mike.
if
Yeah.
if you were
So
if you were reaching out to me in 2013 and told me that the MLS was running the table and really spanking a lot of these Mexican teams in a round of 32 or whatever, a World Cup style tournament, I would have laughed in your face. This is obviously
Crazy, man.
unprecedented, but this is unbelievable just how lopsided it is. And maybe it just goes to show again how important it is to play at home.
Did you think Messi be in Miami in 2023 back in 2013?
Absolutely not. I thought that he would have somehow found his way to Manchester City, honestly, just sovereign wealth to line his pockets.
Same man, same man. Really what we need is a Europa League, a Copa Sudamérica. Like you just need a secondary tournament to the CCL. I
right.
don't think we needed Leagues Cup. I don't think like having the stop and play. Like this has been fun, but I think realistically, what we need is just that secondary tournament that Europe and South America has. We don't really have that.
It's funny you say that. I was talking to somebody who
here.
doesn't like follow the union or anything like that, and they were like, "Well, how long did they play for?" I'm like, "We started in probably late February, early March," and they're like, "Well, when did they finish?" Around December. I'm like, it's a lot of soccer. It's a long season. It's it's just almost too much at one point. It's so like it's
Especially this year, man, when you're
a
in so many
lot.
competitions.
Yeah, so I agree. I like it. I like that we're talking about it. It's fun. It's exciting. It's obviously benefiting the union right this very second, which is great.
Yeah.
But at some point, I'm just like, let's get back to your point. Let's keep climbing the table. Let's keep going to the MLS. Let's just enjoy the actual season rather than all this kind of stuff on the outside.
I hear you, man. I hear you. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this episode of Dupe by the River. For first off, I want to say thank you to Paul for coming on in here, guys. Make sure you guys are subscribed, listening, watching, reading Philly Sports Network. Paul and our other great writers always got you covered with all your union articles. Paul, seriously, thank you so much. And Mike and Jose, I want you guys to plug away. You guys are doing such a great job at Across the Pitch, man. Plug away. Let them know where they can find you guys.
Sure. So you can follow me at mbarrera1323 on Twitter and TikTok. TikTok, I do a little couple other, across the pitch things, soccer things, kind of some exclusive content on that. Jose is Jose R. Nunez 91 on Twitter only, and Dave is Dave GFC Miller on Twitter as well. The three of us are at AAT Sports _ AAT Sports _ AAT Sports Network. Send us a DM, like us, find me at tailgates, probably doing something dumb and just having a good time. That's really about it.
Yeah, be on the lookout for our content. We have some more stuff coming out this week. I think I have 4 more interviews or quick sound bites going out this week. And Mike and I will be at the Wrexham game, probably getting some more stuff. So excited to talk to those young guys. And honestly,
Hanging out with Rob and Ryan. I like it.
They invited me to me to box. I say, I gotta stay with I gotta stay with the people. Sorry, not today.
Yeah, it's weird to say go support again, Big Brother, but
Yeah.
I'm really excited for the young guys to finally get a crowd, and I think they will get a crowd tomorrow. And I'm just really eager to see how they handle that and to finally get media, because I can't imagine that they get a lot of media coverage on a weekly basis. So to see these honestly kids, young men, have to interact with dummies like me in the press room, I'm really intrigued to see how it goes. But no, thank you again to both of you for having us. It's been again a revelation over the past year to see us grow and do what we're doing and sort of start collaborating with others in the same sphere.
Absolutely, man. Those kids are telling you to F off. I want to go play Fortnite. Just trying to get back to playing Fortnite.
Jokingly, I'm probably going to go do that in about an hour. So there's that.
Let's go. Go kick Paxton Aronson. He's probably playing right now. So
Yeah.
Dad was spending a lot of time with Ernst yesterday by the Heineken deck. So I was trying to watch and read some lips, but I couldn't.
Well, baby Aronson, she's going to be our star, our DP of the NWSL. I don't know if we have DPs in NWSL. She's going to be the star of our Philly team, man. So I can't wait till that
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. What? Soon enough, gentlemen, soon enough. But thank you so much to Mike, Paul, and Jose. Thank you to you guys for tuning on in. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe for more live viewings. Find us wherever you stream podcasts on the Dupe by the River, and follow us here on Twitter at the Dupe by the River podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Jose Nunez. That is Paul Frenzel. That is Mike Barrera. I go by the name of El Parcero Philly, and we're telling you guys to dupe on. Talk to you guys soon.